Good evening, Rakesh. Good evening, class. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible and visible to all of you? Am I audible and visible to all of you? Okay, great. Great. Okay. Okay, so today we have a session of Schrodinger wave equation, and we'll be doing the graphs based on that. So actually, mathematical treatment of Schrodinger wave equation is not in your syllabus. Only the qualitative treatment is there. Getting it? So solve this Schrodinger wave equation, you will need a second order differential equation solving temperament. So if you have got that thing, then we can solve it, but it's not even required, not in NEET. Okay, so I'll give you the basic information regarding Schrodinger wave equation, and then what kind of question will be asked in the NEET, we'll be solving those. Okay, so shall we begin the session today? So today's session is all about wave mechanics. Wave mechanics. When I say wave mechanics, there is a word called wave, and which actually means that electron will be treated as a wave. Electron will be treated as a wave. So Schrodinger prepared an equation that is called Schrodinger wave equation, in which electron was given a treatment like a wave. This is a little bit different from the quantum mechanics. Little bit different. Quantum mechanics. Actually, in it, still the electron was given a typical treatment like a particle kind of thing. Getting it? Electron was allowed to do some quantum jumps, okay, without telling anyone. But in this, electron is behaving more like a wave. Okay, so let's do the Schrodinger wave equation. Schrodinger wave equation. So I'm writing this wave equation, but they won't ask you any direct question on that, but still you should write it down. This is del square psi upon del x square plus del square psi upon del y square plus del square psi upon del z square plus 8 pi square m upon h square e minus v into psi equal to 0. In this equation, this psi is the wave function. What is that? I'll just tell you that also. This E will be the total energy, and this V is the potential energy, and this psi is the wave function. So if we go about this thing, there is one more way of writing this equation, that if I write down this as inverse del square psi plus 8 pi square m e minus v psi upon h square is equal to 0. This inverse del is called Laplacian operator. This is called Laplacian operator. No one will ask you what is Laplacian operator, but suppose in the local examination they ask you, you should be prepared for that. This del, inverse del, is actually called Laplacian operator. Okay, and this is actually given by del, you can simply say del square del x square plus del square del y square del square del z square. Okay, so if I put phi into that, this will become the same equation. And this equation is also written in the third format. They can give you any format. This is the second format of the equation. This is the first format and the third format. H psi is equal to E psi, where H is the Hamiltonian operator. Now, see, NEET is not going to ask you any one of them, none of them. But over here in the local examination, they can ask you anything. So be prepared for that stuff, okay? So let us move, like what we have to do with this Schrodinger wave equation. So this contains a word called psi. It's a Greek word, psi, and its meaning is wave function. It is a wave function. And if someone asks you, what is the physical meaning of psi? There is no physical meaning. It has got no physical meaning. It's simply a mathematical curve. It's a, for example, if I give you a sinusoidal curve, something like this thing. So what is the meaning of this thing? Any physical meaning? No, nothing. It has got no physical meaning whatsoever. It's simply a mathematical curve. Similarly, a psi can be something like this thing, something like this thing. So what is the meaning of this? Nothing. It's simply a mathematical curve. But there was a scientist called Max Born. He said that, okay, psi is actually physically meaningless, but psi square can be assigned some meaning. This psi square is the probability of finding an electron at a place, at a point in a space. Are you getting it? So psi square will give you the probability of finding an electron at a given place. This psi square is also called probability density. Probability density. So what I'm saying is that if there is a nucleus at this point, for example, then if I have to find out the probability of our finding of electron at this place, I believe that you all know that electron can be found anywhere. It can be found anywhere around the nucleus. It's an electron cloud. This we have discussed previously. But if I have to find out the probability of finding electron at this space, this will be given by psi square. The probability of finding electron, probability density. Very good, bache. Very good. Very good. Hai? So similarly, if I have to find out the probability of finding electron at maybe at this space, again this will be given by a different psi square. If this is a different psi 1 whole square, this will be psi 2 whole square. Okay, getting it? Okay, let's move ahead. So I mean, when you will solve the Schrodinger wave equation, after solving it, you will find multiple solutions of Schrodinger wave equation, many of them. But not all of them are valid. Only few of them are valid. Okay, only few of them are acceptable. Like if a solution has to be acceptable, like what should be the condition that I will accept the solution of psi? Only if this is satisfied. These conditions are satisfied. So for psi to be acceptable as a solution, right? 4 conditions need to be satisfied. I'm giving you 4 of them. The first one is that psi should be continuous. It should be continuous. That means it cannot be discontinuous. It has to be a continuous function. Second, psi should be finite. Psi should be finite. Getting it? It should have a finite space out there. Third one, psi should be single valued. It should not give you multiple values. It should not give you any kind of fuzzy answer. It should give you an absolute answer. And fourth one, that probability of finding electron from minus infinity to plus infinity should be 1. What is the meaning of the fourth statement? It says that if you are hunting for electron around the nucleus from minus infinity to plus infinity, you should be able to find the electron. If you are not able to find electron from minus to plus infinity, that means you are working with the wrong wave function. You are not actually into an atom. Are you getting it? Yes or no? If you are an atom and you want to find electron should be found anywhere from minus to plus infinity. Now, I know that this atom is 3-dimensional in space, right? So if I say from minus to plus infinity, the probability of finding the electron, the size gives you the probability of finding electron. Okay, from minus to plus infinity. Along what? Along the 3D space. What is that? X-axis, Y-axis and Z-axis. Is that clear? That is dx, dy and dz should be equal to 1. What I have just written in the form of equation is the mathematical form of the above statement. Are you getting it? So 4 conditions need to be satisfied. First one, it should be continuous, it should be finite, and it should be single valued. Moreover, the probability of finding electron from minus to plus infinity should be 1. Because the maximum probability of finding anything can be 1 only. Yes or no? Like in this kind of question, they can ask you that which of the following are the conditions for a solution of psi to be acceptable. These are the 4 conditions. Is that clear to all of you? Is that clear? At max, they can ask you the statement kind of things, so be prepared for that. And one more thing, that whenever you will find acceptable solutions, each acceptable solution of psi in the bounded state, but what do you mean by bounded state? That means inside the atom. It should not be beyond atom. Inside the atom is called eigenfunction. Each, for example, on solving Schrodinger wave equation, you got acceptable solutions of psi s, psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, psi 4, and so on. They all will be called the eigenfunction, and each eigenfunction will have an energy value. For example, psi 1 will have a value of E, energy as E1, psi 2, E2, psi 3, E3. So every psi 1, psi 2, psi 3 will have an individual respective values, like say E1, E2, and E3. They will be called eigenvalues. I'm writing that stuff, you will understand that stuff. Say we have got eigenfunction, like say psi 1, maybe psi 2, maybe psi 3, and so on. So each will have an energy value, say E1, say E2, say E3. These energy values are called eigenvalues. So like this is the core of what normally is a course structure of any coaching institute in South India. So they deal with that, and sometimes they give these kind of questions in your weekend test also. So that is done, but the probability of these coming in the NEET entrance examinations are comparatively low. Because we are not able to teach the student the deeper meaning of these things. So they are very superficial things. So whenever NEET will be asking you anything, they will be asking something which is consequential, which is like say having a meaning which you are able to understand. But at this 11th and 12th level, understanding Schrodinger wave equation is like very difficult mathematically. Quantitatively, that is not in our syllabus. So we'll discuss the qualitative treatment of Schrodinger wave equation. So begin. So when you will solve the Schrodinger wave equation, how we will solve, that is not the scope of this class, that is beyond this class, but still we should try that. So boys and girls, what I'm doing, I'll be plotting certain graphs, and these graphs, they will come. They have to come in the weekend test also, and they have a huge chance of coming in the entrance test also. So please pay attention. So I will be sharing a trick how to remember that and how to handle the question based on that. So stay tuned. Come on. So I'm drawing the graph of psi along the radius. Okay. And this I'm drawing is for 1s orbital. So the graph comes like this thing. Okay. So graph above this x-axis will be positive, below this it will be negative. This is the graph of 1s orbital. This we get when we solve Schrodinger wave equation for hydrogen atom. Okay. Now come, second graph. Say for 2s. So the graph of 2s orbital will be psi over here, r over here again, and this will be something like this thing. Plus and minus. Okay. 3s. Any guesses? The graph of 3s will be psi r. It will go down and will come up again. Plus, minus, plus. So you can see in 1s we are having one lobe only. In 2s we are having two lobes. One up and one down. In 3s, 1, 2, and 3. How many lobes will be there in the 4s? How many lobes there will be in the 4s? Come on. Be quick. This is how we are going to answer the question they will be asking us. Come on. There will be 4 lobes. So will you agree with me? If I draw this thing, if I draw this graph, for example, this thing, come on, tell me. This graph belongs to which orbital of s? Which orbital of s? Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. No, this is 5. This will be 5s. 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lobes are there. Is that clear? All of you? I'll tell you one thing. I mean, if I draw like this, then what? Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will be for 7s. Am I correct? Arey 7s hai. Vijay. कैसी कैसी बहकी बहकी बातें कर तुम लोग यार, ये कौन सा सस्ता नशा किया तुमने आज? हाँ, that is good. That is good. So come over here. Come over here. That is it. Now let us go. Let us go with the P. P orbital, है ना? Say for P. This is for 2P. This is for 2P. So when you will solve it for 2P, what you will get? You will get, this is psi, and remember that only S subshell or S orbital, it belongs with a non-zero value. It belongs with non-zero value. Other subshells or other orbitals, they begin with zero value. Out here, this one plus. Okay, getting it? Three P psi, and this is say R. It will be going up and then coming down. So two lobes are there, plus and minus. Students, listen to me. They will begin, except for S, P, D, F, G, H, all the orbitals, all the subshells, they begin from origin. They all begin from origin, that is from zero itself. Getting it? So for example, wherever it will begin, the S begins from 1. So it will begin from 1, it will have 1 lobe. P begins with 2. There is nothing like 1P. There is nothing like 1P. Yes or no? We begin with 2P. So 2P will have 1 lobe. 3P will have 2 lobes. 4P will have how many lobes? Come on, the diagram of 4P. Tell me one thing. Is it correct or not? Is it correct or not? Is it correct or not for 4P? 1, 2 and 3. 3 lobes. Yes or no? Good, very good, very good. And now if you are understanding, let me know the diagram of 3D, because D begins with 3 only. D begins with 3 only. So in that case, I believe that psi, and this is R, it will begin with 0, the origin part, and wherever they begin, there is only 1 lobe. P begins with 2, 1 lobe. D begins with 3, 1 lobe. Yes or no? Yes or no? Acha. Okay. Now let us construct the graph. Now this is all useless. This is all useless, है ना? Meaningless. There is no physical meaning in psi. So we should go with what? Something meaningful. That is called psi square. So psi square, let us draw that. Psi square, this is R. I'm drawing for 1s. So when you will square it, it will simply become more steeper. Nothing more than that. Okay? And this one, psi square, this is R. The positive will become even steeper and negative becomes positive. Negative becomes positive. But remember that the height of the mountain keeps on decreasing in psi square. Now come over here, say for 3s, this is psi square, this is R. The height of the mountain will keep on decreasing. Is that clear or not? Is that clear? Now come over here, the psi square out here, like this will be again same thing, it's already positive, so square will be little bit steeper, not more than that, almost similar graph. Sir, how to difference between P and D orbital? No, there is no need to difference between the P and D orbital. I'll tell you what kind of question they will be asking you. They won't ask you this kind of, because to solve this thing, they will give you the proper pronouncement that we are discussing with the P or D orbital, but not in your entrance examination. What kind of question they will ask you, I'll discuss that in a short while. But till then, keep on focusing. Your question is like say meaningful, no worries about it. है ना? चलो आ जाओ. So psi square, and this is R. This will be again this thing, and the height of the mountain decreases. See that this negative becomes positive on squaring. Out here, psi square and R, again the similar kind of graph. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. Okay, having done that stuff, we'll go to the one more graph that is called D. D is actually 4 pi, D is equal to 4 pi R square into psi square. That means you will multiply the psi square, that is the probability of finding electron. probability of finding electron with 4 pi r square. Now what is 4 pi r square? It is the surface area of a sphere. So for example, if this is the nucleus and I have to find out the probability of finding an electron at a distance r in a surface, on a surface area, because see, actually I won't get anything if this is the nucleus. I have to find the probability of finding electron at a place. This is like, say, useless information, since we all know that all the atoms are three-dimensional. So I will need to find the position of electron in a three-dimensional surface area of a sphere. Agree or not? Wherever it is, like, say. So this 4 pi r square will give you surface area of the sphere, and into psi square will give you the probability of finding the electron on a surface area of a sphere of radius r. That will give me more information. Yes or no? Because when I will have it later on, you will be doing the overlapping of the orbitals. So you will try to overlap the orbitals in such a fashion the maximum overlapping occurs. Maximum overlapping will occur when the electrons are maximum out there. So this function will give me that information. Is that clear or not? Is that clear or not? Okay. So remember that if I go with this thing, this is the radius, and this position over here will be having r equal to 0. This is the nucleus. This point is the nucleus, and out here the radius value will be 0. So when I multiply psi square by 4 pi r square, at this point the r value is 0, and anything multiplied by 0 will become 0. Will become 0. Yes or no? That means all the graphs of capital D will begin from 0. Will begin from 0. Yes or no? So for example, I have to draw a graph of D out here. D out here. What I'll do? I'll multiply by 4 pi r square. At the initial point, at the origin, r value is 0, and anything multiplied by 0 will give you overall 0 value. So all the graph of D, capital D, will begin with 0, including S. Yes or no? We know that the psi square of S is non-zero, non-zero, non-zero. But if I multiply by the 4 pi r square, at this point, the r value is 0. They will all become 0. Yes or no? And now understand, this capital D is also called radial distribution function. Radial distribution function, or radial probability function. Okay, so let's draw the graph of this thing, the capital D. Now see this thing, capital D out here, and for 1s I'm drawing again for 1s. So out here this is r. Out here it will be multiplied by the 0, so it will begin from here, then it will rise, and then it will come down. Why it will come down? Boys and girls, why it will come down? Initially, I know that r value is 0, so multiply by 0, it becomes 0. It is moving up and then coming down. Why coming down at 0, boys and girls? Because over here, the psi has become 0. Psi square has become 0. Yes or no? So now, because of psi square becoming 0, though the r value is non-zero, 0 into this thing will also become 0. Yes or no? At this point, you can see that the psi square has become 0. So now 4 pi r square is non-zero, but multiplying by psi square, which has become 0 now, will also become 0. Is that clear to all of you? Everyone, please communicate. बोल ही नहीं रहे तुम लोग यार, सो जा रहे हो तुम लोग. ठीक है. Now come. Over here, the D and the R, it will begin with 0. And this will be a mountain, and this mountain now becomes bigger mountain. This mountain becomes the bigger mountain. Beta, Why this becomes the bigger mountain? Psi square, in psi square, the height of the mountain keeps on decreasing. But in capital D, the height of the mountain keeps on increasing. Why so, beta? Because as you keep on moving, the over here, the value of R increases. And since this is R square, suppose the radius is 4, R square will be 16. Radius 5 becomes 25. R becomes 6. This becomes 36 and so on. 81, 100. So as you keep on moving, the R square keeps on increasing exponentially almost. Yes or no? So it will be able to overpower the value of psi square. So overall result is what? Increase in the height of this thing. Getting it? Because of the increment in the value of R more predominantly as compared to psi square. And who will tell me this thing, psi square, and this is R, the height of the mountain will begin with this thing and increase and then becomes even more farther. Is that clear? Very good. 3 upper slopes. Very good. Now out here, the D, and this is say R. It will be same. It is already beginning with 0, but this will also begin with 0 and the same graph, almost similar graph. Out here, D square. So not D square, only D. And this is what? R. This is R, radius. Again, it will begin with 0, small mountain, and the height of the mountain keeps on increasing. Is that clear? And again, for this 3D, size, so this is D. This is capital D, R, similar graph. No problem with that. So what I'm saying, keep on looking at the graphs. Keep on looking at the graphs and tell me whether this is true or false. That the graph of psi can be positive or negative. The graph of psi can be positive or negative. Yes or no? Yes or no? It can be positive, it can be negative, depending on that. Okay? Okay. Okay. The graph of psi square is always positive. Is always positive, and the height of the mountain in psi square keeps on decreasing. It keeps on decreasing. But the height of D out there, it keeps on increasing. The mountains, the height keeps on increasing. So now let me ask you, Achha, one more thing, the psi and psi square of S subshell, psi and psi square of S subshell or S orbital begin with non-zero value, true or false? Okay, great. Psi and psi square of P, D, F, G, H subshells or orbitals begin with zero value. True or false? True. Also, D, the probability distribution function D, the graph of all D, all the D begins with zero. True or false? Very good. Okay. And in capital D, the height of mountains keeps on increasing. True or false? Good. Very good. Very good. So let me ask you some questions. Chalo. First of all, tell me that this graph, this is psi, this is say R, this graph belongs to which orbital or which subshell? First one, come on. I'm giving you, this is as 5s. Second, 4s, third, 4p, fourth, 5p, and maybe fifth one, say 5d. Come on, tell me one thing. Come on. Which one? Arey, baap re baap. So since this psi begins with non-zero, only S subshell or S orbital begins with non-zero value. Yes or no? So this will be S. So P and D cannot be the answer. And since S begins with 1S, so 1S, 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S. Is that clear or not? So answer will be 5S. But a Storm Gaming, Telugu, it cannot be 4P. Are you getting it, beta? P will begin with zero value. This is beginning with non-zero value. This is psi. Yes or no? Achha, come over here. Let's do one more question. Psi, and this is say R. And I'm giving you This one, है ना? So tell me one thing. This belongs to say 3s second, 4p third, 3d fourth, 5d. चलो बताओ which one? Which one? This belongs to which one? Oh. देखो बच्चों, see that it cannot be s. It cannot be s. This is beginning. The psi beginning with 0. Psi is beginning with 0. So it cannot be s. Those who are answering s, it cannot be s. Vijay, Kavita, it cannot be s. Yes or no? So this can be p or d. Now, since p begins with 2p, p subshell begins with 2, na beta? So this is 1, 2p, 3p, 4p. So it will be 4p. And let us try for d also. Let us try for d also. So d begins with 3, 3d. This will be 3d, 4d and 5d. Yes or no? This will be 5d also. Second and fourth. Keep on moving. Vijay, you are giving me all wrong answers today. Hari Surya correct. Sahiti correct. Durga Prasad correct. Bachcho, is it clear or not? Clear or not? Should I ask you one more question on that? Should I ask you one more question? But remember that whenever the P begins with 2P, so 2P will have 1. अच्छा इधर देख लो आप लोग. See this thing. 2P has only 1 lobe. 3P has got 2 lobes. 4P will have 3 lobes. D begins with 3. So wherever it begins, it will have always 1 lobe. Wherever anything begins, will have only 1 lobe. See, 1 lobe and 1 more lobe. अच्छा आओ इधर आओ, एक और क्वेश्चन करो. Do one more question. पर इतनी गलतियां कर रहे तुम लोग. Don't do these many questions. Wrong है ना? चलो come on. Out here. चलो बताओ. First one, this will be 5s, second, 5p, third, 6p, fourth, 7d, fifth, 6d, what? Which one? How 5d 1 say sir? बेटा देखो d इधर देखो आप यार, आप समझते नहीं मैंने क्या कर रहे हो. इधर देखो. For 3d there is only 1 lobe. For 4d 2. For 5d 3 lobes will be there ना बेटा. एक तो नाम क्या रखा तूने यार बच्चे यार, ये स्ट्रॉन्ग गेमिंग FF तेलुगु क्या बोलूं उसको यार मैं. देखो बच्चों, it cannot be s. It cannot be s. It is beginning with what? 0 value, है ना? So see, if I talk about p, 2p, 3p, 4p, 5p, 6p, so it will be 6p. Yes or no? And d begins with 3. D begins with 3. So 3d, 4d, 5d, 6d, 7d. 7d. I hope everyone has given me the correct answer. Sharanya कैसे कैसे आंसर दे रही बच्चे तू? Sharanya, are you getting that or not? 6d नहीं आएगा बच्चे, 7d आएगा. Because d begins with 3. D begins with 3. I mean, today the online class was very good. Sorry, the offline class. And normally you guys are responding very well. But today, I mean, I don't think that you are in the full form. Chalo, we'll do more. Achha, one more thing, beta, over here. Like on the graph of psi, you have to locate nodes. You have to locate nodes. Learn that also. See, wherever the psi will say change sign, that will be called node. The graph of psi where the psi changes sign is called node. So how many nodes are there in 1s? How many nodes? 0, because it is not changing sign. In 2s, yes, out here, 1 radial node. This is called 1 radial node. Is that clear or not? Out here, 1 and 2. These are 2 radial nodes. 2 radial nodes. Yes or no? In 2p, it is not changing sign. No radial node. Come on. In 3p, 1 Out here it is changing the sign. This is called one radial node. Are you getting it or not? So what is the radial node? It is the point at which the wave function changes sign. Wave function changes sign. So if that is clear, come over here. Tell me, how many radial nodes are here? How many radial nodes? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes or no? We have got 4 radial nodes. Remember that nodes are found in the graph of psi only, where it will change sign. How many radial nodes here? How many radial nodes? How many? 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So there are 2 radial nodes. 2 radial nodes. How about this one? How about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Here again 4 radial nodes. When the phi changes the sign, that point is called a radial node. Is that clear to all of you? Yes or no? Okay, chalo. Now, see this thing. I'll be plotting the graph of psi square. Remember that psi square and psi, for S, they are beginning with non-zero value. For P, D, F, G, H, all of them, they'll begin with non-zero value. Sorry, zero value. Chalo now. Psi square, I'm giving you psi, sorry, your writing bahut kharab hai. Psi square, and this is say R, hai na? Tell me, this graph belongs to which one? Again, sorry, my mistake. First, 3S, second, 4S, third, 5P, fourth, 6D. बोलिए भाई, since it is beginning with non-zero, so P and D cannot be the answer. P and D cannot be the answer. So since there are how many lobes? 1S, 2S, 3S and 4S. Yes or no? S begins with 1. So you can count with 1. 1S, 2S, 3S and 4S. Answer will be 4S. Chalo now. Chalo, one more question. Psi square, and this is the graph. Chalo batao. First, 4S, second, 5P, third, 4P, fourth, 6D, what? Take it easy. It is beginning with 0. So it can be P and D. It can be P and D. Be careful. And if it is P, it should begin with 2. It should begin with 2. So this is 2P, 3P, 4P, 5P. So 5P is the answer. S cannot be the answer. Okay? And let us try D also. Let us try D also. And D begins with 3. D begins with 3. 3D, 4D, 5D and 6D. Fourth also. 5P and 6D. Are you getting bache? Are you getting it or not? Okay, let's have some graph of D now. Let's have some graph of D now. Okay, tell me one thing. This belongs to 3S, this is R, second, 4P, third, 5D, fourth, none. What do you think? What do you think for capital D? This will be 3S, 4P, 5D. D, all the D begins with 0. Remember that. All the graphs of D begin with 0. Remember that. Very good. The answer is none. Answer is none. Because I told you and you are not focusing that the graph of D, the height keeps on increasing. The height keeps on increasing. And over here it is decreasing. This is the graph of psi square, not of D. Answer is none of them. Be careful, bachcho. Be careful. So let's have D now. Come on, tell me. First option 3s, second 4p, third 5d, 5d, and fourth all of these. All the graph of capital D, they begins with 0. All of them. So if I go with, like, say S will begin with what? 1, 1s, 2s, 3s, correct? P, try for P, because all the D begins with 0, okay? So 2p, 3p, 4p. D begin with 3, 3d, 4d, 5d. This also. The answer is all of them. All of them. Are you getting it? All of you getting it? So ठीक है, come. Now let's have the nodes. Nodes. So what do you mean by nodes? They are the places where the probability of finding electron is 0 or minimum. Minimum probability can be 0. So we can say, sir, in psi square graph, how many nodes will form? No, beta, in psi, we don't calculate nodes on psi square graph. The definition, the mathematical definition of node is that the psi should change the sign. In psi square, there is no change in sign, all are positive. So we are not bound to calculate the nodes on psi square. We can calculate nodes only on psi, because only there the sign is allowed to change. Okay? Nodes are the places around the nucleus where the probability of finding electron is 0, or you can say minimum. Okay? So there are two types of nodes, students. Remember that. The first one is radial node, or you can say spherical node, or also say nodal surface. Nodal surface. Okay? And second category is angular node. Angular node, or you can say nodal plane. Nodal plane. Are you getting it? And this radial node, spherical node, or nodal surface is given by n minus L minus 1, while the angular nodes or the nodal planes are given by the value of L. Getting it? Okay, good one. Very good. So tell you one thing. Achha, before that, total number of nodes. Total nodes will be equal to what? Sum of radial node and sum of angular nodes. That is n minus L minus 1 plus L. This will cancel up. I'll get n minus 1. So total number of nodes are given by n minus 1. Is that okay? Very good. Very good, Saiti. Very good. Now, before we move forward, let us understand one thing, that whenever L value is given as 0, it will be called S subshell. L value 1, it will be called P subshell. 2, it will be called D. 3, it will be called F. 4, G, and 5, H. At least learn till here. At least learn till here. L value 0, S, 1P, 2D, 3F, 4G, and 5H. Learn these values. At least learn these values. Okay. So once you have done that, we can proceed over here. Come on, tell me how many radial nodes will be there in 1s subshell. Come on. How many radial nodes will be there in 1s? So 1 minus 0 minus 1 equal to 0. In 2s, 2 minus 0 minus 1 equal to 1. Yes or no? Keep on putting the values and you will get the answers. Okay, chalo batao, who will tell me how many radial nodes are there in, say, 3p? In 3p, tell me, in 3p, everyone be quick. 3p, come on, bhai. 3 minus 1 equal to 1. Not 0. It will be 1. Arey, kaisi baat kar rahe ho? In 3p, L value is 1. Bhai, L value is 1. मुझे ये बताओ, कौन से सस्ते नशे किए तुमने? क्या चरस भांग खा के, क्या खा के आए तुम लोग आज? कैसे कैसे आंसर दे रहे हो? बहके बहके से आंसर, सिंपल सिंपल क्वेश्चन के. साजिद, दुर्गा प्रसाद, कविता, कुसुमा, विजय. विजय तो आज तुम पगला गए हो. आई एम टेलिंग यू. इज दैट क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू और नॉट? चलो बताओ, चलो बताओ 5D, how many radial nodes are there in 5D? 5D, गलती नहीं करना तुम यार. 5D for L value of D is what? 2 minus 1 equal to 2. 5 minus 3 equal to 2. Much better, much better. ठीक है. Can we come out here? चलो tell me the number of angular nodes for 1s. It will be equal to value of L. Value of L. Come on. 0. 0. For 2s. 2s. 0. 3s. I mean any s, it will be 0. For s, L value is always 0. The nodal planes will be 0 for any s orbital or any s subshell. Come on, 2p, 3p, 4p, so on. It will be one only. There will be only one nodal plane. है ना? चलो ठीक है. आइए आइए आइए. 3D, 4D and so on. It will be 2. L value is 2. Keep on getting that. ठीक है. So I'm asking a question now. I'm asking a question. In 5G, in 5G subshell or in 5G orbital, tell me number of radial nodes. Number of radial nodes will be equal to n minus L minus 1. N 5. L value is 4 minus 1 equal to 0. Good, very good, very good. Second, nodal plane. Nodal planes will be equal to L. L value is what? 4. So it will be 4. Very good. Third, total nodes. Total nodes will be n minus 1, or you can simply say angular nodes plus radial nodes. 4 plus 0, 4. Here also 5 minus 1 equal to 4. हरी सूर्या, कैसे आंसर दे रहे हो तुम लोग यार? पगला पगला से आंसर दे रहे हो. Is that okay? चलो. Now they will be asking you some questions on the nodal planes, है ना? चलो देखते हैं बच्चों. Come on, tell me one thing. So let us draw some p orbitals, है ना? So let's have say px. So the graph of px is something like this thing. This is the x-axis. This is the x-axis. This is the orbital, and the electrons live in the orbital. If I ask you a question, in which direction the probability of finding electron is maximum in px orbital? Tell me. In which direction? In which direction the probability of finding electron is maximum? Varshini, kya hai 1? What 1? I'm saying in px orbital, in which direction the probability of finding electron is maximum? Yes, Kavita, very good. Along the x-axis. Along the x-axis. Yes or no? Very good. Very good. Similarly, if I ask you about py, so the probability of finding electron will be maximum along y-axis. Along y-axis. Similarly, if I ask you that say this is say pz, I mean I'm assuming this is z-axis. In that case, this will be z-axis. This is y-axis. I'm assuming that it will be along the z-axis. Now the question they will ask will be that in which direction the nodal plane will be there. In which direction nodal plane will be there in the px orbital. In the px orbital. So for that, बच्चे, I'll share a trick with you. If you are a bit confused, देखो ऐसा है. We have got x, y and z axis. So if they are asking the nodal plane for px, remove x, this plane yz plane will be the nodal plane. Yz plane will be the nodal plane. Yes or no? Are you getting that or not? See, this is the x-axis, this will be y-axis, and this will be z-axis. So if I put this thing out there, can I pass a plane passing through nucleus in such a way that it will not cut the electron? I can cut a plane this way. Yes or no? This is y-axis and this one is z-axis. So y and z, this plane can pass through it. Agree or not? So what is nodal plane? A 2D plane. A 2D plane which can pass through the nucleus in such a way that it will not going to cut the electron. Is that clear or not? So nodal plane, you people know, is equal to what? L. L is how much for P? 1. So there will be only one nodal plane. So which one the nodal plane for Px? It will be YZ plane. It will be YZ plane. Yes or no? Yes or no? Now tell me similarly, if I have got X, Y and Z, in this case, which nodal plane will be there? Remove Y, XZ plane. Yes, very good. So here the nodal plane will be XZ plane will be the nodal plane. Only one nodal plane will be there because L value is 1. L value is 1. Similarly for Z, X, Y and Z. Remove Z, remaining is what? XY plane. So XY plane will be the nodal plane. Yes or no? Yes or no, bachcho? Good one. So they'll ask you two questions, two kind of question. In which direction the probability of finding electron is maximum? It is along the lobe axis. Okay. And what is the nodal plane? So I've told you trick basically. If they are asking Px, remove x, remaining 2 will form the nodal plane. Y, Py, remove y, remaining 2, xz will form the nodal plane. And they're asking PZ, XY plane will be the nodal plane. Is that clear? Is that clear or not? Okay. Chalo now. Come to next one. I mean, this D. Let us find out the nodal planes for D. That is very important. Very, very important. Come on. So we should have DXY. So the graph of DXY is basically something like this thing. X-axis and y-axis, and electrons will live in the double-dumbled lobes. Are you getting it? So if I ask you, in which direction the probability of finding electron is maximum in DXY? In which direction? No, Sharanya, no. The direction, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. So these lobes are in the x and y-axis. No. Z-axis will be this one, bache. Z-axis will be this one. In this direction, so there is no electron. No. Arey, aise nahi karte. These lobes, if you look properly, beta, these are at 45 degree to x-axis and 45 degree to y-axis. All of them. They are 45 degree to x-axis and y-axis. So the probability of finding electron is maximum where? At 45 degree to x and y-axis. Maximum probability of electron is 45 degree to x and y-axis. Are you getting it? So these are important questions, so be careful, and they have been asked multiple times in the PYQs. Is that clear? Is that clear or not? Now they'll ask you the nodal plane, and since you know that for D For L is equal to 2 for D. Yes or no? So number of nodal planes for the d orbital will be like say 2. Remember that? Like which one? Like which one? So I'm giving you a trick for that also. I'm giving you a trick for that. Say for example, this is the dxy. So there are 3 planes: xy plane, yz plane, and zx plane. Yes or no? They are asking what? dxy. Remove xy, remaining 2 will be the nodal planes. Is that clear or not? So the nodal plane for dxy will be yz and zx. yz and zx. देखो, z is this way. So y and z axis can pass through the nucleus. Yes or no? And xz, again this horizontal line can pass through nucleus without cutting the electrons. हाँ कि ना? And similarly, I mean, I'm asking you a question. The dyz, in dyz, come on, the graph will be same. This is y, this is z. Achha, you can interchange the position of z and y. Nothing will change. Don't worry at all. So same graph will be coming. And the probability of finding electron. Come on, boys and girls, now. You got to tell me the maximum probability of finding electron will be where? Come on, will be where? Maximum probability. First answer, maximum probability. No, I'm not asking nodal planes. It will be 45 degree to x-axis, sorry, y-axis, and 45 degree to z-axis. 45 degree to y and z-axis. Okay. Now, since planes are xy, yz, and zx, this is what? yz. Remove yz. Remaining 2 will be the nodal planes. So nodal planes will be xy and zx. Okay? ठीक है? Good one. Very good. Who will tell me the answer for dzx? Maximum probability. This is that. This is supposed to say x. 45 degree to x and z axis. Agree? Very good. Nodal planes for zx. xy, yz, zx. Remove zx. These two will be the answer. xy and yz. Yes or no? Good. Very good. We all know that in d orbital there can be, like, say, two nodal planes. Like these last two are very important. Shall we move ahead? Shall we? But are you getting it or not? How much? 1 kg, 2 kg. कितना समझ में आ रहा है? How much? 1 kg, 2 kg. The unit of understanding, will it be kg or liter? अच्छा, percentage में दे रहे हो आंसर. 100%. Full kg मतलब अच्छा infinite. चलो ठीक है. Okay. Oh, come बच्चे. Then we have got dx square y square. So the graph, first of all, little bit different. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this graph is actually along the axis. So the probability of finding, maximum probability of finding electron will be along the x-axis and y-axis. I hope this will be fine with all of you. Maximum probability will be along x and y axis. Yes or no? Along x and y axis. See that? along x-axis and y-axis. No problem. Okay. Find the nodal plane. Nodal planes. Come on. Nodal planes. There are also two. Which two? Which two? This one. You can draw the two planes at 45 degree to x and y axis. 45 degree to x and y axis. Yes or no? No, not x, y, y, z. No, 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 no. X, y will be where? It will be this way. It cannot be the answer. This will cut the electron. And y, z will be this way. So it will also cut the electron. It should not cut the electron. Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay? So it will be at 45 degree to x and y axis. 45 degree to x and y axis. Yes or no? Last one, that is dz square. Dz square. So dz square, the graph is along the z axis. This is z axis, and the probability of finding electron is along the z axis and in the ring. And in the ring. This ring is in the xy plane. This ring is in the xy plane. Yes or no? So if they ask you that the probability of finding electron is maximum where? Along the z-axis and in the ring, which is in the xy plane. Okay? This plane is what? Horizontal plane. This is what? XY plane. This vertical is Z plane. Yes. And how many nodal planes? How many nodal plane? No nodal plane. There is no nodal plane. Because you cannot pass any line through this thing which will not cut electrons. Yes or no? It will cut the ring. At any cost, it will cut the ring. Yes or no? There is no nodal plane. So that is all for the day. You just keep on revising, boys and girls. And now perfect the graphs. I mean, at least 3-4 graphs will be coming. Okay, in the examination on Sunday or Monday, whatever it is like, say. Okay. God bless you all. Bye-bye. Take care. Nodal planes in x square, y square is at the 45 degree. Over here it is at 45 degree to x and y axis. I have written that. The two planes, 1 and 2, both at 45 degree to x and y axis. Is that clear? Okay. Chalo bye. Take care. God bless you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.